From Christopher Nolan, the director behind Momento, the Dark Knight Trilogy, Inception, Dunkirk and Interstellar, comes a brand new movie, which is what you should expect by now from the same guy who directed Momento, Inception, the Dark Knight Trilogy, Interstellar and Dunkirk. Hello, my name is Elijah Wells and today's review is TENET. The story is John David Washington plays a character who's literally called the protagonist, goes back with some time inversion skills, tries to prevent World War III, which involves a lot of arms dealership and of course technology and algorithms involved in a time inversion. To give you like a rundown of the story without giving away some spoilers and being in depth with it, I'm just going to have to like show you the surface level of what the story is. So that's what I'm going to do. He basically attempts to prevent World War III with some time inversion. Not exactly time travel because they kind of explain it from there. For the first time in 6 months, I'm finally back in a cinema. Although this is the first time I've been in the cinema for like 6 months now, when I've reviewed Onward, which you can just check it out yourself because why not? Yeah, I had insanely had some expectations of what the story is going to be, and like this is going to be that, and this is going to do this. Like since his movies are really plot wise, Christopher Nolan's are really twisty when it comes to narrative. Like he just really likes to play around with time. Like time is something to toy around with effectively. Like I was trying to think in my head. Okay, like for example, Memento, which is a movie that basically plays backwards. Inception, the third act is basically not in real time at all, and Dunkirk is basically ranges from 1 day to 1 week and 1 hour, like time ranges of 3 separate stories. This one, he's going back in time and forward at the same time. It's basically like solving a Rubik's Cube, but with 4 hands, and 2 of the hands are solving it while the other 2 are following the cube up. It's basically, you're playing around that sort of logic when you watch the movie. I was trying, like watching the car chase scene, I was like trying to get used to it in my head, and the final battle scene, I was like, it felt like okay, this, well, there's, yeah. I was about that set. I was basically, it's just so unpredictable. Like it's something that's not being pulled off at all. Like, it's not exactly the mannequin challenge, or like the girl who played for time, or maybe Doctor Strange. Maybe a little bit of the finale of Doctor Strange where he's moving forward and everyone else is moving backwards, like time inversion skills. This movie is basically about time inversion to prevent World War III, and even though the movie doesn't have a blatant amount of CGI effects, but the special effects and of course how they managed to make the actors look like they're going forwards and the Western world going backwards, or going backwards and the Western world going forwards. They actually made a featurette and had the main actor literally learning how to do his entire choreography backwards. Like Christopher Nolan has this insane dedication. You can't just just rewind the film and just call it a day. He literally thought of it like step by step. Like, how is this going to work? Like people like jogging backwards, like running backwards. It just looks like they're kind of jogging and looking backwards, like these videos. Like, oop, oop. Yeah, it can't just gonna look weird if you kind of want to do it in that direction. And also, the cinematography is pretty great in the film, particularly when in the Mumbai area. And also, the score work by Ludwig Göransson is really amazing, particularly in the opening scene where there was an attack in an opera house, which is both insanely great and so gripping and so intense that it feels like a really beefed up version of these action movies. Like maybe James Bond if it like had a bigger budget. And I think Ludwig Göransson's score, particularly in the instrumentals for Travis Scott's song "The Plan," which is also a great song by the way. Yeah, it feels like it's one of the more electric scores that Christopher Nolan's done, even though Hans Zimmer was allegedly unavailable at the time to do the music because he was working on a Denis Villeneuve movie, Dune. And of course, the acting is great, which I will break down each character one by one later on. The writing is brilliant. The writing, there's obviously a lot of thought put into it, like time travel, like how are you going to like interact with yourselves, and what's the rule of continuity and rule of thumb when time traveling or time inversion. Like, you can't just like interact with your past. You can't just like look in the background. You can't buy a sports magazine. Okay, that was from Back to the Future Part 2, but you get the point. And also the direction is great. Like, how do you think this out thoroughly? Like the time travel movie, yet it's not a time travel movie at the same time. Even though the story, on a non-spoiler way, it's a little bit difficult to like skim it down for you. But if it's full of spoilers, like, it's going to be a lot easier if I explain the story. The story is basically going to be more easier if it's explained with spoilers. But nevertheless, the cast of John David Washington, who's Denzel Washington's real-life son, he was brilliant in the film. Even though he was in Black Klansman, from what I remember, I thought he is definitely a promising workforce in the acting industry. Well, a promising actor. And also there's Robert Pattinson, who basically is just really shrugging off the Twilight phase, and does a pretty interesting performance that I'm really keen on his character, Neil. Like, who's basically at the end, there's this amazing plot twist ending, like, whoa, and you really like the character more just because of the twist ending. And of course there's Elizabeth Debicki, who's you may know from the 2018 movie Widows, who's basically the estranged wife of Kenneth Branagh's character, who basically the acting wise ranged from really intimidated, really bothered, really concerned about his wife, to acting like how Kenneth Branagh reacted when Kenneth Branagh directed Artemis Fowl, basically in massive amount of rage, and quite a lot of Russian rage, because he's surprisingly really good with accents all of a sudden. And of course the settings in the movie are brilliant, like takes place in Norway, Estonia, the United Kingdom, and as well as Mumbai, India. Like, I feel like you can really, there's really more of the world they built. Like, for example, instead that's mostly out of space. Dark Knight, it's mostly in Gotham City and Hong Kong. And Dunkirk, it's set in Dunkirk because Dunkirk. And Inception, maybe China, I think, but yeah. Try an explanation that the world's a little bit. There's definitely a bigger world to this movie compared to other Nolan movies, and it's definitely a much more, akin to like spy movies from the '60s during the Cold War era, where America were the good guy, American or Brits were the good guys, and the Russians and Soviets are bad guys. I think it's mostly akin to these films at all. I think the only thing I really had to criticize about the movie is basically the plot is almost pretty difficult to explain without getting into the spoilers. And also, once you've figured out the plot twist, once you figured out the twist ending in the film, you'll be like, oh, okay, whoa, okay. It's not like Fantastic Beasts: Crimes of Grindelwald, where they just threw everything except the kitchen sink. It's we'll just say the twist ending. Happens in the movie as well in the middle of the film, and we'll just say, now I get it. I feel like it got that reaction for me, like Yeah, it's not like something simple like Parasite or Oldboy, where it will just shock you to the core, or again like Fantastic Beasts 2: Crimes of Grindelwald, where they threw everything except the kitchen sink, or including the kitchen sink. What I thought about the film, it was a brilliant film that was also more rewarding since it was my first time in the cinema for 6 months. The acting of Kenneth Branagh, John David Williamson, Warren Patterson is brilliant. The writing is great. The direction is really precise and really planned out thoroughly. The Editing work is great, the sound work is enthusiastic, and also score by Ludwig Göransson is brilliant, who also recently did score for Black Panther and won an Oscar and a and a Grammy for it. I'm forgetting my trophies, like I'm losing my mind from lockdown. Of course, the logic of using time inversion and seeing how the ethics and reasoning behind it and what the rules you can apply seems really well just if it's going to happen in like Cold War 2 or World War 3 Electric Boogaloo. All in all, I really like this movie. Even though it may not be my favourite Nolan film out there, particularly up there with Dark Knight or Inception, but I thoroughly recommend this movie. Although I may give it an 8.5 out of 10, depending how the movie grows on me, but it's an 8.5 out of 10 for me. But let me know in the comments below, follow me on Instagram and Twitter, like this video and subscribe, and this is The Larger Wells, and bye!